Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back with Party Size Cycling, and so far it looks like we have a stream, even though YouTube is being weird. So, um, anyways, we were going to do some movie reviews tonight. I tried to put it out there as much as possible, so hopefully some of you guys saw some of the movies or are at least aware of them. But before we
Based
jump,
on the group chat, I think we're already going to have a very heated discussion.
yeah. And just a quick side note, how I usually pop your guys' chat up on screen, for some reason it's just not working tonight. I tried to reset it like 4 times. So that's kind of a bummer because I like to be able to like have you guys be heard even if we can't directly address the comments right away. But just if one thing doesn't go wrong, something else has to go wrong. That's live streams. But
Yeah.
before we jump into the movies, anything exciting going on with you over the last 2 weeks since we chatted?
I mean, there's a lot going on. I don't know if it's exciting. Nothing I can share at this moment, but essentially starting a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happening. But it's nice to just be talking movies and bikes for a change instead of very serious stuff.
Yeah, I've just kind of been hustling to stay on top of stuff because I'm leaving on Thursday for a week at 5 in the morning. So me and Aaron are heading
Work
to
or personal?
what's that? Oh,
work or business or fun?
personal. Aaron's best friend is getting married uh, in Maui. So
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I never thought I'd go to
So you're gonna go
Hawaii.
climb Kona
Yeah. So
or whatever the Impossible Brow was.
yeah. So I will like I mean when everything is a little bit work to me because we rented bikes, I'm going to make YouTube content and all that stuff. But I don't
Hmm.
that's not really work cuz I don't mind doing it and I'm not going to I don't think I'll be doing too much editing or anything while we're there, but I'll have my laptop as a freelancer. I do still have to respond to stuff even though we'll be like I don't know like what 10 hours different in time or something. It'll be crazy. But yeah, never thought I'd go to Hawaii, never thought I could I don't. I really still can't afford it, but we're doing it anyways. Aaron bought the plane tickets with credit card points because she really wanted me to go,
Cool.
so that made it a little easier. So yeah, no stream.
Yeah, I've never been. That's exciting.
Yeah, no stream next week, obviously, but yeah, it's cool.
Sure. Two nice weather trips in one winter. That's pretty solid.
I know that is. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, because even though today it's like 50, it was nice. I got out. The snow's melting, but it's like everything's ugly. Everything's wet. There's salt everywhere. There's still like places you don't want to get off road because it's all sloppy. So it's yeah. I'm glad it's not freezing cold, but it's not like it's all of a sudden like great to go ride everywhere.
No, yeah, I just went for like an hour long walk instead of getting out on the bike. I know I do this to myself every year. We have the first like break in the temperature, and then I go out and I start riding outside and and then all of a sudden it becomes really hard to ride the trainer again. So I'm like, I almost don't really want to do. I mean, I still have been riding outside here and there, but like I don't want to like push it. You know what I mean? I don't want to like go and like then get hopeful and then we're going to be in for another month long of crappy weather. So I'm tempering my expectations.
I do think you need to bring up your Zwift achievement though, because I saw it.
Oh yeah. I do. After 5 years, I finally got the Tron bike. For those of you that Zwift and know what that means, but it's so essentially it should not take 5 years to do this, but I don't climb a lot.
Yeah.
So if you climb 164,000 and I think it's 42 feet, you get this like bike that has light up wheels.
Yeah.
So don't think that out loud. But like when you're in the game, it's sort of like it's a thing. It's an achievement. It takes it took me 5 years to achieve. I'm sure most people it'll take. Tim, you probably will do it less because you climb a lot more. But for me, it was like a big deal. But I have been very purposely going and doing like just the climb portals every week and doing a whole bunch of stuff because I was sort of like it was within reach and I just wanted to get it over with. So all my Zwift dreams have been achieved. I can retire now with my Tron bike.
Yeah. No, it is a thing in Zwift. Like when someone passes you on the Tron, or I guess it's more when I pass someone on a Tron bike, you can't help but I think in the back of my mind like, oh, got the Tron bike, but I'm passing you.
It's not actually the best bike. I was surprised at that also.
No, it's
Canyon
not.
Road or whatever I normally ride, like outrinks and all the things. And to get the stupid upgrade that they do now, you have to upgrade. I think it's like 3 other Zwift bikes fully, and then you can finally start upgrading the Zwift concept bikes. So I'm like, so I don't, not that it matters, but it's like one of those things where it's nice to have, but I don't know that I'm actually going to ride it. It just felt good to like have that pop up on the screen.
So funny because I ride the steel bike just because I just like it. So I don't because I'm not really racing and I'm like more riding Zwift for a workout. So it's one of those things where I'm like I don't know how much it's hurting me, and it has been upgraded a couple times, so it's not like the worst level of the steel bike. It like has some aero upgrades on it or whatever, and I have really nice wheels on it. But yeah, I ride the steel bike because it looks so cool, especially with my Tour de Zwift outfit because I did finish that too. So.
Well, when Terry was getting into like streaming on Zwift a lot, I did ask him on one of the live streams. I was like, "Are you picking your bike for steez or stats?" And I feel like that's a good question. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to ask themselves, right? Yeah. I need all the help I can get in there, fighting for my life, in the draft. So I'm going for stats. Yeah. But they do have not a plug for Canyon and screw Canyon, but they have the like. Canyon came out with those bikes where they had like artists do the paint jobs and stuff like that, yeah. And they then put those into Zwift. So like it in terms of the bikes that you can get, does look the nicest, and its stats are pretty solid too. So that's been what I've picked. I have a pretty nice like kit formed from 5 years of doing all the special events and getting all of the hat and sunglass and sock unlocks. I have a pretty slick avatar. I feel like much better than my personal attire.
Yeah, it's funny because one more thing about Zwift, and then we'll get into the movies. But I'd posted one on Strava for the last stage of the Tour de Zwift, and I did the whatever they call it, the hard stage or the long stage.
Yeah.
And I wrote about like how I rode it, how I rode the stage, and how I went out hard, but then I went out too hard, and I pretty much it wasn't even a race, but everything's a race, you know. So, and our buddy the lanky cyclist, he commented, he was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh, on Zwift, I am a total roadie. Like, you know, I am not like this anywhere else." But like, even in that stage, there was no. I got out in no man's land towards the end, and I ended up catching up with just one other dude, and me and him were riding together for the last couple miles, and we both tried to out sprint each other to the line, and I got him, and I was really happy about it. You know?
Me, it's like you know, if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you don't have to be the character yourself as the character, right? Like you're playing a video game, you're allowed to be something that you're not in real life, in my opinion.
And like we said, we both like racing, so it's my chance to, yeah. Like I know all the stuff about racing, and it's my one chance to have a little bit of that experience because I'm never going to do that out on the real road. So,
yeah, field sprints are not exactly a common occurrence on the bike path.
So, what do you think?
Oh,
go ahead.
I'd say before we start the new ones, maybe let's revisit our opinions of the previous four.
And
I think at the end it would be nice maybe then build like a more comprehensive ranking. And as we keep doing these, we can keep that going. So somebody early on that may not have watched our previous Bean Burritos Are Life talking about Quicksilver being Quicksilver is the most overrated bike movie, and I think both Tim and I's opinion, it was ranked very low last time. We had lots of problems with the character development, the lack of bikes, the movie Wall Street being plucked into the middle of the movie, plonked into the middle of the movie for no reason. Quicksilver, I think both of us agreed was the worst of the last four, right?
Yeah, and the worst thing to me about it was just I just feel like it was a bad edit. Like maybe there was good footage in there, and maybe there was a good story, but like the fact that he's like, "I'm quitting my job now, I'm the best cyclist ever," I couldn't get past that. And it still sucked after that, but I really couldn't get past that.
We both had a lot of reasons just like that. I think you did not get a chance to watch. Have you watched Premium Rush since? Because I think at the time you had not.
I hadn't, and then I've watched. I have not watched it like sitting down and watching it, but I've watched a bunch of clips and kind of put it together from our discussion.
So Premium Rush was the next up from Quicksilver. Both of us like Breaking Away and American Flyers. This is where we differ a little bit. American Flyers is one of my favorite movies, bikes or otherwise. Hands down.
And I think the weird like sexual energy between the brothers is confusing.
I was really contemplating like if I could find somebody down at Orange Blossom to like come up behind you and pants you and put so you can experience it.
Yeah.
Maybe then you come around to American Flyers.
Yeah. I didn't hate American Flyers. I don't, and I thought some of the bike racing was okay. I guess I enjoyed watching American Flyers, even though some of it was unsettling and the racing was a little less than realistic.
I agree. I have an obsession with that era, that team, that race. Like for me, it has a lot more to do with that. So anyway, that's where we were. I think if you didn't go back and rate those. I had done it at the time, but I was like, Quicksilver was 15, Premium Rush was 23, Breaking Away was 25, American Flyers was 29.5. I use these same rankings as we go to the next one. So at least for me, I can objectively stack them up into 1 through 8.
Yeah, what I did with your list, I didn't actually fill it out, but I kept it in mind. I was thinking kind of how we did it last time. You showed what you had rated it, and then I just reacted with how hot takes to it.
Sure.
So, or whatever.
And I think even last time, like our conversation led me to plus or minus some things, so we'll see how far off. Maybe we can come up with some stuff. But just for those that weren't privy to the last one, or even if you were, why would you memorize my ranking, my rubric? But basically, what I had decided on was to rate a bike movie again, and I think it's important we are rating these as bike movies, not necessarily like there is some categories here that like would plus or minus these films based off of like this criteria versus just like overall movies. But so plot being the first one, bike scenes specifically, and I rated all these 1 through 5. The soundtrack, diversity, coolness of family. That was very specific. The last one, they were all family oriented movies. This one was less so, but I've still found a way to like shoehorn that in. Acting, which was admittedly usually bad, humor, and then the big thing: do they still ride bikes at the end of the goddamn movie?
Yeah.
Which was one of my major problems with Quicksilver. Is the moral of the story is none of them ride bikes anymore, and they move on. Okay. Anyway, so you want to do one movie at a time then?
Yeah, let's start with RAD because that's what
Start with RAD.
I wrote in the title "RAD kind of sucks," so I knew it was a clickbait. So I don't think we're getting any discovery because YouTube's not totally working. But anyways, we'll maybe in the
they'll come through later. Yeah. I am on the other side. I had seen RAD before in college. Was not an avid biker at the time. Certainly not familiar with the world of 80s BMX. But I, this time around, actually quite enjoyed it. So I rated it fairly highly.
Really?
In this scale, which we'll get to at the end. Yeah.
But the dialogue...
so I'm curious.
The dialogue is like some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard in my life.
So I feel like, though, it's come... And I felt the same way when I watched this in college. But at some point, it's so far removed that at some point, I feel like it comes back around and it becomes the greatest dialogue ever. Because it's so, like, bad that it's good. And I found myself, and my wife was watching RAD with me until she fell asleep. But we were like, was this corny at the time? Was what we were trying to
So I read the reviews,
right?
and yes, they were like, this is definitely a kid's movie, and if you're over 15, you are not going to enjoy yourself.
Got it. So that's fair enough. But I found it in the year 2025 as a 42-year-old man fine, and like it tied into the humor for me, like literally laugh out loud moments, but I don't think that was necessarily their intention. No. It's the dialogue points. But I had to admit that, like, yeah, I laughed out loud quite a few times.
I have to admit that I was like, when is this movie going to be over? I want to do something else now. I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. So it's Steve, who puts on Orange Blossom, actually hit me up in the messages when I had posted again that we were going to do this. Mm-hmm. And he had said something about how it had a leg up because of who the director was. And the director has done other action movies. And I think that was right on, because I think the scenes of like the riding are as good as any movie I've seen. They're not overly corny. And when they did like the stunt stuff, even in the police car chase, I mean, there's boards up there and he's not really riding across those logs.
Yeah.
But they did a good job. The race did a good job. They were all pro BMX riders. And I've used this reference before, but I love that 80s movie Gleam in the Cube, because I grew up like, when it comes to like freestyle type stuff, for me it's skateboarding. So the fact that it was the Bones Brigade that Gleam in the Cube used, and it was Powell Peralta's the best riders in the world at the time, I loved all the skateboarding scenes, but there's no way I would ever say that's a good movie. And I laugh out loud at all the lines in it too, but yeah.
So I think specifically it took a lot of the things that we talked about in the last one. So like Premium Rush had a bunch of trials type of riding. So that scene where they're I think this movie's more influential than people think, because the scene in Premium Rush where the person is like on the trials, like is it trials rider Danny McCaskill or whatever, it's like hopping from container to container. That was like very cut from that lumber yard scene, right? Like where somebody chasing him and that. So it had like a lot of good chasing elements that we've seen in other movies, like Quicksilver and Premium Rush, and some of that like trial stunt riding that we saw in Premium Rush coming from here. And I think especially the fact that like it was these like things laid out almost exactly like they were in Premium Rush, it has to be a callback to that, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think of an '80s, or I don't know, of a movie that's not basically, I don't know how to describe this. I don't know. The bike riding scenes were very good. Like they were definitely good.
Yeah,
Even
like
the end.
dancing,
Yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah,
Like
that was
the Rory
great.
McLaughlin scenes. I mean, it's so bad. Like,
Did
I
you?
mean, it means so bad, meaning like you obviously knew that it wasn't the actors doing it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because it was like very clearly she's like lying on something. They're just pushing her across
yeah.
the screen. But I'm fine with that.
That scene, I gotta
Somewhere.
say, I forgot as we were talking about this, as I just talked about how good the bike riding
Oh,
in it. I found that scene pretty cringy, and the two guys I read about this, the
Rod and Rat or Rod and Rex or whatever.
do you know? Did you? I don't know if you read anything, but their outfits were from the television series V. Did you read?
Yes.
And I don't know. You
Yeah.
have to be a certain age to definitely even know what V
I did
is.
not. I'm not familiar with
I
V.
grew up with V being on television when my parents watched it, but it was this. It started out as a very strong miniseries, and then it was like Planet of the Apes, like the original run of Planet of the Apes, where everything
Yeah.
was lower budget and just a cash grab after. But so yeah, I was like, what the hell are these outfits? And then when I looked it up, I'm like, they're from an Alien movie miniseries that was going on in the soundstage next door, like because that made no
Well, but they
sense.
weren't even the craziest part. The like weird couple dance with Bart was even weirder in my opinion. Like the I don't what was that supposed to be? And like the fact that the mongoose guy was like, "Hey, we have these dance routines too. Get
Yeah.
it, kids!" Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just
and like this is the thing they travel around the country doing or something. Because then like when they came in with the bikes, he was like, "You could have let me finish my dance."
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. That scene is insane. Also, I just popped up on the
Yeah,
screen, by the way, when Mr. Hand turned out to be from what's it, Fast Times at Richmond High, comes
yeah.
around the corner. That was like my laugh out. I'm like, it's Mr. Hand. Like, oh my god. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
None of that stuff made
cringy, but
sense. Like the stuff around the bike race didn't make sense. They didn't explain why the bike race was coming there. Like it's just painted everywhere, and you know it's coming because you're not stupid. But like it's just painted on this wall that he rides by, and then it's like everyone starts talking about it. But and then these people are like, "What are we doing in this podunk town?" And yeah, what are you? What are you? Why are you? They never address that. Like
no, but there. Yeah. So for plot, I rated this pretty low because, admittedly, and I would say it from a pacing period is like goes probably 20 minutes too long. I would say, in that it like the recurring thing with like them blocking him, finding rules for him to like. They did it like one too many times. I feel like
yeah,
because like okay, we need to get on. Like you've kind of like hit the down part of the movie, the thing where they made all the T-shirts and that they didn't need to do it again. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I know it was to set up the one guy to come in and like give him the money, but they could have found a way to do that without having to go through another cycle of it. I feel like, and there was a little. They had like that hardship, and then like kind of like wrenched it a little too much before going into the bike race. Um, so yeah, the plot I think I have in front of me only rated a 2. The bike scenes I put 5. I thought I love flatline BMX. Like just watching it is cool. So even if that had nothing to do with the plot of the movie, the like the beginning credits and the end credits, like fine, you get a 5. And like the BMX, so that the one thing I read, I don't know if you saw this too, because it seems like maybe you checked the trivia stuff also, but that they had pro BMX riders, as you mentioned. None of the pro BMX riders could actually ride the course in one shot.
Oh, I don't know if I did. I read how hard it was, and I know they actually changed that original drop
Yeah,
off because
so
it
they
was
had
so
to lower
dangerous.
the top end,
Yeah.
and nobody could actually complete a lap of the course, so they had to like break it and film it in like individual
Oh yeah,
sections
yeah, I did
because of
read that
that.
too.
They were originally the plan was just have them go and we'll just like film stuff going on, and then we'll do the story beats. They couldn't do that, so they actually literally had to just like repeat sections over and over to get all the footage. Um, I think though there are so bike scenes. I think we're both in agreement. There were a lot of good bike scenes in there. The
Yeah.
soundtrack was also pretty good, in my opinion.
I didn't think enough about the soundtrack in that one.
I think, but again, it's of a time. I mean,
It, it was just
the Send Me an
cheesy
Angel
'80s.
scene.
Oh yeah, it was all
Yeah,
cheesy
it was
'80s.
cheesy
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
It was mainly like similar to American Flyers, where it was like one person did a lot of the songs. So it was clearly just like, hey, write a bunch of songs in the style and we'll put them in the movie. Apparently, there was one song that was apparently created for this movie that they didn't end up using, and then the song it was like lost forever because it was specifically bought for this movie or something. Anyway, but the Send Me an Angel scene with the bike dancing, I feel like that is something I even remembered from way back when. That like really tied in with that music really well. And maybe because I don't feel like the other movies we watched this time really focused on music at all, like the other ones did. It stood out
yeah.
more that this had a soundtrack that was like trying to do something to fill in the bike scenes.
Yeah, the
So I
music
rate
in
that
the
fairly
other ones.
high.
Yeah, the music in the other ones is not even. I wouldn't even think of it. It was not a
Yeah,
feature of them. Yeah.
rated pretty lowly. For diversity, it was a one. I don't think there was a single non-white person in the movie.
Yeah, what they shot it in. They shot it up in, like the west coast of Canada, but it's supposed to be taking place in like outside Seattle somewhere, right? It's Pacific. It's supposed
I,
to be
you
in.
know,
It's supposed to be in the
I
Pacific
couldn't pin where it
Northwest,
was.
but it's actually shot in Canada. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, what I mean was there? Right? I'm trying to. I was racking my brain afterwards looking at this. I don't think there was any. And I'm
No.
giving it a point, not zero, because like it did have Lori Loughlin writing. So and the other,
Heather,
I forget her name. The other friend was a girl. So
we could just call Rebecca because everyone knows it's Rebecca from
yes,
Full House.
yeah, okay. And Becky.
Yeah, Becky. Aunt Becky's character was an interesting character, and I do think it gives it a one in diversity because it is not normal to have a strong female character. Like she criticized him, she tried to coach him, and it wasn't
Coach
just
them,
completely
yeah,
written
like
off.
so.
And again, we always say that we're two white dudes, so someone else's opinion could be like, "Hey, fuck you guys," but yeah,
I agree. The sister was a strong person. A lot of the strongest personalities in the movie were from female characters. So in terms of like that, but it was still a lot of like just white dudes. And also that like the girl that they're friends with that rides BMX did not race. Like
yeah. Why did
why
she?
wouldn't you just throw her
Yeah,
in the race? Like make fine if she gets out in the qualifier along with the other guy, but like why would you not put her in the race? She rode with them all the time, seemingly. So that was a weird choice. So
yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
one is fair there.
Yeah, one. They get a point. They get a point.
We'll talk about one later that's a zero.
Yeah.
Coolness of family. Porn here. The sister, what was her name? Wendy? Was it?
No, she had a weird
Or
name.
Wesley?
Yeah, she had like
What
a
was the
she had a name that was like because I remember being taken aback. Was it like Wesley? Because it was like it was definitely
I
like
think it
a
might be one.
name where the gender threw you off. Like I
So similar, like drove a lot of the humor. I feel like there, and but like if the mom wasn't Talia Shire, like she was a Earl Wet Blanket, but like it's Talia Shire. I don't know.
it seemed like an element
It,
they almost didn't need in that movie too. It was like they
no,
didn't
it
need the
completely
like
like
they didn't need the you got to fight for your right to party like aspect. It didn't make any sense. Like it was like this.
no.
There's too many plots already. There's enough. I mean, there's enough bad plot, but he doesn't need to like. I mean, it made for one comedic thing at the end where it's like, oh, that guy might beat the pros, but
But what? So like, what was she proposing? He's throwing his life away for. They never established that he's good at anything else other than this, right?
yeah,
So there was no drama to that or anything. We talk like a lot about this about. I think where a lot of movies fall flat in character development is you don't like actually follow through on setting up and making us care about things, right? So like not do BMX compared to what he has not indicated no interest or skills or anything
yeah,
else. He
yeah.
waits tables currently. What is she upset about? That like you're very good at this. You could actually like not be a dingus and stay at home.
It would instead of like the SATs or whatever it was, they should have been like, no, you go to audition to chop logs next week. Like, yeah, that would have made way more sense with the.
Right, or oh, you're not going to make any money at this. We need you to like work a manual labor job so we can
Yeah.
feed the family because your dad's gone because that was never addressed either.
No.
Like why? Anyway, So it just like it was tacked on. So I'm gonna drop it down, but like they probably got her and were like, shoot, gotta use her. So like throw in a couple scenes. Is my guess.
By the way, I want to throw this in. Clunky Bikes said right now, Rad wins weirdest romantic line of all time with God, what I wouldn't give to go ass sliding with you right now.
It was a good one.
Which leads me into, did you read this? So they said in the movie, there's a line in the movie also like, go balls out. And that was the working title of the movie.
Original title.
Yeah, they were going to call it Balls Out.
Balls
I'm like,
Out.
is it like different? I'm like, I'm trying to think of like, how could you think you're making, because it is definitely a kid's movie. It's a cash grab on BMX trend and stuff. Balls Out?
Rated PG.
They're going to name it Balls Out? Did that line hit different in 1980? What year is this movie? 85 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, I feel like, again, it was like a thing of a bunch of adults like trying to cash grab on a kid's trend type of thing. So probably trusted somebody and somebody got one over and they were like, hey, wait a minute. You can't call this movie Balls Out, you fucking moron. Like, oh, but the kids were saying it.
Yeah. I didn't even know that line went that far back. I would have guessed that was a 90s thing. Balls Out. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it definitely seems more 90s. So I'm lowering the coolness of the family now that I think more about it. Talia Shire was definitely just tacked on at the end. I think that's, I don't know, what do we want to go? 3 there, maybe?
Yeah.
2? The sister was...
He puts her in a
charming.
trash. He puts her in a trash can.
All right, fine, too. We're dropping it.
You know, he puts her.
Side note, though, the what's it called? The screen printing factory they made, though, like points for that.
Yeah.
Was a pretty rad thing to do. DIY. The acting, I'm gonna throw a generous 2 that way and say a lot of it is just probably no name.
Here's one of my opinions on the acting. One, like I think you probably know the main antagonist, like the other bike rider, which one of my positives about him. I'll say down the road, but is a gymnast who was a gold medalist who got not an actor. But I didn't feel like it was the actor's fault.
No,
most of the time
agreed.
they had such bad lines to deliver. Like I remember watching it and being like, they're not bad actors. They just have nothing to work with.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I agree. Like some very lopsided character development. We really also don't like. Here was another problem I had with it from like taking a step back and putting on like film school hat is like the whole motivation for Bart to be an asshole didn't make sense, and the impetus for him to like accept him at the end also didn't make any sense. Like where is this coming from? If he's an asshole, then he's an asshole. But like, he didn't do enough, I feel like, to like earn the respect there. And like, he didn't tell Mongoose to go fuck themselves. At no point was he like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to try to take. We're not going to try to take you out in the thing. He did nothing to overcome his assholeness. He gets no character arc. Should not be an ending to this movie where they're like, you can ride with us. Like,
yeah.
What?
It's also a weird thing because it's one of the things I liked about it. But again, that this is their fault for setting it up wrong in the beginning, is that he didn't turn out to be the main bad guy. It was the Mongoose guy who was the main bad guy,
right.
And it would be so 80s just to through and through. This guy's Hollywood bike rider, and he's the big shot, and he's all an asshole through and through. So I did enjoy the fact that he waited up to make it like a real race, and he was not the like. So I like that.
Okay, that's a good point. I forgot about that. He did do that.
So I like that they didn't go in that fully direction. But they should have had that reservation in him from the beginning. Like, he shouldn't have got out and, like, signed those girls' boobs or whatever he did. Like, they should have had that little arc of him always having a soft spot. Like, and that would have made way more sense later in the movie, you know.
The man had, like, 4 lines in the entire movie.
Yeah. I mean, they literally hired him because he was an Olympic gold medal gymnast and no other
exactly,
reason.
yeah.
But
humor, though, all right, here's where I give it a lot of, like, so out of these movies that we watched today, this was the most enjoyable watch for me, even though I don't think that it was a good movie. Huh. At no point was I, other than I said, there was about 20 minutes, like, where I'm like, all right, get to the hell track part. Like, I'm ready for this climax here. But, like, I laughed out loud quite a bit. I was engaged with the bike content. The soundtrack kept me like every time I would start to like kind of like goes off of like, oh, music, bring me back. So like I think that in terms of just watchability, I'm kind of lumping that in with humor. Like I'm giving it a 4 because I
Huh.
feel like out of the most of these movies that we watched this time, this one I had the least problems getting through.
That is so crazy. Like Hard Miles and Flying Scotsman. I was like, I think I'll watch these again. Like,
Okay, we're
yeah,
gonna
like
have some conversations coming up.
genuinely enjoyed these movies. Like these are movies made for bike people. Yeah, we'll get into it.
We're gonna we're gonna certainly um I'm willing to cede some of my 4s down to a 3.
Yeah,
I regardless of whether intentional or not, it was funny. Like
yeah.
I laughed out loud. But my favorite gag though was the I hated their dynamic the rest of the time. But when they're at like the town hall thing, and he's like, "I'm gonna give a prize of," and he looks over the other guy and he mouths like $20,000. Just the way look on his face when he gave that handshake, was like, "Oh no, $10,000." I lost that part though. I don't know why that really got me.
Do they ever explain? So maybe I missed it because in the end I got up and I was like kind of pacing around and like I'm like maybe I should fold laundry. So like, do they ever explain Mr. Hand's like relation to the mongoose guy? Like, why is Mr. Hand gonna make money and why is he at the town halls? Like
He just like it said he that yeah, I think it was just like a publicity for the town type of thing.
yeah.
It seemed like. But also, if you were Mongoose, by the way, why would you ever license this like the name to this movie?
I kept thinking that. I kept thinking that too. Because like
During
there's
the time, I believe the largest BMX brand in the world. Why would you want your name associated with this piece of media?
yeah,
Like,
I know because
this is not good for you at all.
people have had fast ones pulled on them. Like the biggest example would be
Sure.
Costco and what's the movie that's pretty much what Trump is right now? Idiocracy. Like
Okay.
Costco was like it's Matt Judge, and they're like, "Can we use your thing?" And they use Costco in that movie. And so there's a couple where it's like, man, people have pulled this off before, but this is like a cash grab on the BMX scene. Why would Mongoose want to look like their CEO is an absolute piece of shit? Like, because he is. He's like there's nothing good about him. There's not like one
No
redeeming
redeeming
quality.
quality
Yeah.
or the Mongoose team riders.
Yeah, yeah.
Than Becky. Ugh. So yeah, all right. So fair enough. As this conversation, I think, bringing me back down to reality a little bit. But I think it was just like watched it on Saturday night with my wife who had never seen it, and we had a good time. So I think I was coming off of that high a little bit. And okay, so the final thing: do they still ride bikes at the end of the goddamn movie? Yes, they do. Fine.
Yeah, it's all about bikes through and through.
And he literally does not do. He does not fail to get into college.
Yeah.
Idiot. And still continues to ride bikes. So kudos to them for that.
What did they?
That's right. So that brings it to a score of 23, which puts it tied with Premium Rush in my scores from last time. Any do you want to go to the chat? Have we missed anything?
Clunky said Mongoose did not sponsor it, but I mean, still, that you can't use someone's.
I assume they have to license it. Yeah,
They would have. You couldn't have just like used it that hard without. Huh?
Yeah.
Maybe Mongoose didn't sponsor it, and we just go at Mongoose. That's where we.
I mean, maybe. Yeah. I just watched Nirvana the band, the show, and there are certainly some expert ways to get around copyright stuff. Side note, if we can plug movies for a second. Are you familiar with Nirvana the band, the show?
No.
Okay. A show, I think it was eventually actually on the air on Vice, but it was a web series before that. Two Canadian guys that have a band, Nirvana, but to make sure that people are aware that it's not the other band, it's Nirvana the band. Anyway,
Yeah.
and I can't sum up the show, but anyway, they finally made a movie, and I went and saw it today, and it is possibly my favorite movie ever. Happy to talk more in depth about it later. If you haven't seen it and you're familiar with the show, go see it. Although they have gone on record saying they think it's better if you're not familiar with the show and you go see it. So anyway, it's a comedy in theaters, which is a rarity these days. So if you get a chance and it's playing in your city, go see it. I paid $6 this morning. I didn't realize movies were at price on Tuesday. I'm unemployed, so that's where I'm going every Tuesday morning. It's 10 a.m. I'm going to go watch a movie.
I can't believe you can see a movie for $6 anymore. I feel like
$6.
I feel like the typical curmudgeon. Like, I haven't seen anything for a long time, but I think me and Aaron saw some of those horrible Star Wars movies, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then when I walked out, I was even more mad because I'm like, I just watched someone destroy everything that I loved, so, and I had to pay a bunch for it.
But their whole thing is they have a really creative way of getting around copyright, where if your movie is talking about something or it's critical to the plot, to use a plot of your own device to use footage from something else, you can get away with that. So they've gotten away with an insane amount. They've like never paid for the rights to anything and have used 1 million properties in the show, and in the movie was even more. And at one point in the movie, they turn, they're like, "This is a copyright nightmare. If you're seeing this in the theater," like totally broke the fourth wall. Like, if you're seeing this in theaters, this is it. This is the only screening ever. This is gonna like they're gonna. That's so good. Anyway, I digress. Any preference then of Flying Scotsman or Hard Miles next?
Let's go Hard Miles.
Okay.
Because I think that one has Flying Scotsman is pretty straightforward. So Hard Miles I thought was let's go Hard Miles then.
Okay. I thought Hard Miles was incredibly straightforward to a fault.
I felt like it was one of the best feel-good movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Interesting. No, but it's not my.
Did you watch it, Jay?
I didn't see that one. No.
And it was clearly made by someone who knows bikes. Like there was
What?
There was so much like inside bike based.
There was a lot of jargon. They definitely paid somebody at some point to give them a lot of jargon, but
I mean, like a scene just to have people like fall over on clipless pedals. Does that hit with a normal audience? That only hits the bike people, right? I mean, nobody else understands that. Okay. I'm like, this is bike nerd stuff. Even like the Zwift scene when he's doing a.
That was where I initially was like started to like be like, this is absolute bullshit, because
Francis Cade has done this. So they put the power into their trainers that like Tade rode in the Tour de France, and they do like that whatever they call, I can't remember what the name is, that rundown test or whatever, where you go until you can't.
They did a ramp test.
Ramp test, yeah.
Sure. Which there's a similar scene in a previous movie that we've discussed, American Flyers, where he's doing essentially a ramp test on the treadmill, right?
Oh yeah.
They milk that for the drama from that for 5 minutes. There's stakes to it, right? They've set this up and they've put like emphasis behind it. That scene was 30 seconds long. They created no drama from that, and then from 30 seconds of pedaling, they're like, "You're a sprinter."
No, he was like joking. This dude is like the nerd. He's us. He's like the nerd, just getting the nerd out on what he loves, and these are just like hard kids who don't really even care. And the bike nerd is enjoying himself. Like that's what. I get it,
but then like you're like, you dropped out of a ramp test. Admittedly, like what or like what a.
It's the stuff we were joking at the beginning of how it took you 5 years to get the Tron bike. That's what it is. It's only inside baseball nerdy stuff. That's what I appreciated about it. He's like, he just loves this stuff so much he doesn't care. He's like, from this one test, if I had to give you guys a rating, this is what it would be.
You read it that way. I read it as like somebody like it just felt so slapped together, which could have been a good dramatic moment. Also, here's a thing that I don't like Matthew Modine in anything ever. So that to me already like set things back. I already don't like the guy that's like doling this stuff out. So for me, I had found a hard time getting.
So you brought your preconceived notions of this actor.
Probably, admittedly. But I thought the FTP test, I really wrote it down as like one of the weakest parts of the movie, where it was like this completely what could have been a dramatic moment. That was my problem with this, is like, yes, they they took what could have been a little bit shorter plot runway, made more dramatic moments. Like, yeah, the hill climb scene was like good. That was 2 minutes long. The FTP test could have been very dramatic. It was 30 seconds long. There was so much fluff in between, which like what naturally should have been really dramatic moments that they just like gloss over because it's just this like medium pacing that never like sort of slowed down enough to appreciate the drama or like sped through like the boring parts.
I do
They
agree.
spent just as much time pedaling normally on flats as they did like going up hills and struggling.
I do agree that the pacing I felt like was a little off. This was like clearly an indie flick because it won some awards at some like shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the Rotten Tomatoes score I think was around 47. It was real hit or miss. Some people were real positive on it. Some people were pretty negative on it. And I will tell you by watching it, one thing I totally noticed as someone who watches a lot of stuff on videography and cinematography, like they had a team that was like doing very specific stuff. Like they were using, I could tell when they were using certain lenses, and I think they also messed that up sometimes. It didn't make sense a couple times why they had made the choices they did, but they were using like pretty modern cinematography. Like it was very well shot. It was, and I think the one downside was I was like, there's a little more pacing that could have been a little better, and maybe that was again was in the edit, but I didn't feel like it destroyed the movie in any way. I still felt like they got the point across. If they still showed that they, and again, I didn't know this was based on a true story. So then after I read that at the end, I was like, oh, so this is more like a composite of the situation, not
yes, it definitely is. Yeah. But I feel
that
like
granted
that
me
was
more
detriment too,
leeway.
because I feel like they ended up with caricatures and not real characters. That, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't a ton of depth to those kids other than the surface level stuff.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
I like the fact that it just didn't come around when it was supposed to, and then they also got away with the one where they like drank, like because you're just thinking, okay, now here we go, now this is going to be the typical, like you're sitting there, you're like, I don't want to see them get busted for this, and then they didn't, and you're like, okay,
Right.
so that's where they added some, like they did in those kind of things, add some
They
depth
did
to it.
subvert. Yeah, there was a couple good writing points I thought where they did subvert your expectations. Also, like I was ready for this, and I think part of it was like, oh great, another white savior story. And I'm not trying to be like woke guy or like, so,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like that's a trope that like we need to start moving away from, right? And but like they subverted that at the end, which was good.
yeah.
But the problem was they let the whole and yes, so that part was good. And then also like subverting like I was like this machismo this guy's got, and then like but it turns out then playing the stuff in with his dad, like it worked, but my problem was all that came like very late in the third act that it was hard then to like for me to get through the first two acts to get to the point where I cared, because at that point I was just ready for this movie to be over.
Which a couple other
I
people are
really
saying in the
struggled to
chat.
get through this one.
Yeah, a couple other people saying it took them 3 days to watch it. I watched one
Yeah.
part of it on the trainer, and I was the opposite. I'm like, I wish I didn't watch this on the train. I'd rather be sitting on the couch with a beer because I'm enjoying this. And another like so when I was talking about like the bike nerd stuff, another thing is how like nobody at the school or the what would you call it? It's
The academy or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's for obviously like instead of going to jail. Oh, you're showing like oh, huh, interesting. Look at that gimbal. Dave's got a. But
They're not riding.
What's going
They're
on?
riding on
Sorry.
trainers.
Dave pulled up a photo showing how they shot part of it, and like they're actually in somewhere in the West on a trainer, but with like a huge boom arm, and yeah, like I said, all the modern fixings on like like a very
Okay.
yeah, it should pop up now. Yeah, but
That was the weird thing. It did feel like a high, but the production value felt a lot better to me, like very, very high end compared to like the script and
Yeah.
like the editing, in my opinion.
so here again with the bike nerd stuff, I think maybe like one, I felt like it was a feel good movie, but two, like I guess I engaged with a lot of the bike nerd stuff. So at the academy, everybody gets the mileage wrong thing, right? You know, everyone's like, well, and you're gonna ride like 10,000 miles, and it feels like
Yeah,
every time
I
we
thought that
talk
was a good bit.
when we talk to our non-bike friends, and then when he walks into the bike shop owner knows exactly what he's doing, right? And I did laugh out
Right.
loud because it was what's his name, the bike shop owner.
Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Sam. Side note, I mean, kind of to bury the lead here, but like 2 movies with people from that were hobbits and the ring. These movies. I don't know if anybody else caught that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. But.
Yeah. Whenever that happens in a movie, do you remember this movie called Apt Pupil from the 90s?
What was it?
Apt Pupil. It had it has this kid who ends up getting groomed by this guy who turned out to be a Nazi. It doesn't matter. But
yes.
Very serious movie. Okay. But then halfway through the movie, the kid gets called into the principal's office, and I'm seeing this in the theater with my buddy Pete because we would just go see whatever back in the day. Mm-hmm. And the principal is David Schwimmer from Friends. And it's this very serious movie, and we laughed out loud, like, because it was like, this is like, the dude from Friends, you know, like. So yeah, that was always throw me. But again, I did like that kind of. Again, I felt like those scenes were very real to a cyclist, and so that's why I was surprised that it actually did well at some film fests because I thought they really did lean into some bike nerdery that really worked for me. You know, like nothing.
So looking at my notes, I wrote it. It seems like somebody took a bunch of bike jargon and sprinkled into a script.
That's what I want. That if they had me consult on a movie, I'd be like, do this. Like
I did, because I think we both probably read the same. Because I didn't get a chance to do as deep of a dive into some of this stuff. But like the basic, IMDb and a couple other things. But that Matthew Modine is a cyclist.
Oh, is he?
Like at least rides a bike around New York City, but to get around New York City. So he was apt. Yes, somebody on the writing team definitely knew what they were talking about. I just feel like a lot of it didn't get accurately or well onto the screen. Yeah, the clipless thing was good. The chamois butter jokes were solid. Like that was good.
Even the fact that they built bike frames in the shop, they didn't make it that they built the whole bikes. They all had different forks because that's what you
right.
Like even STS, the buddies in Indiana, like they build bike frames. You put a fork on it, like they're not forked. That's very, that's very common, and like it's, I don't know. I just thought I'm like, man, they put a lot of little touches in here you don't need to do. So like for the bike nerdery, I thought it hit like very well. I enjoyed the whole movie.
Higher than the scenes themselves, I feel like warranted. So I did rate the bike. So plot, I gave it 2. I'm willing to meet you somewhere else if you want.
Wouldn't you think you would at least go 3 for, like we said, how they didn't use a lot of the tropes that you thought were about to happen? Like the kids are drinking
and that's why I gave it a 2 instead of a 1, but yes.
Man, I really enjoyed that movie. I really did. I really enjoyed it. Oof. Then at the end when they're like, I tried to find more about this, because it is based on a true story. Like this is guys doing like an outward bound type experience like people do. Yeah. Like, but I couldn't find a lot about like the true story like out there. Wikipedia, nothing on it.
Something tells me that there's just not enough footage. Otherwise, I feel like there would have been like that feels like this feels like a stronger case for a documentary than like a fiction. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm losing my words.
A Hollywood version of what happened.
Yeah, a dramatization. Bike scenes, I gave a reluctant 3 because that's where I was giving it credit for the inside baseball, like the chamois butter and the falling over and stuff like that. Not necessarily.
I would give it a 5. I would give the bike scenes a 5 because one, they were shot really, really well, and they were real to like. And again, like obviously, could these kids have ridden all the way through the Grand Canyon? No, they were compositing like a bunch of stories together, which you don't learn till the end, so it's hard to give it credit for. But I definitely like. A regular movie going could suspend their belief of how far these kids could ride, and like even the scenes of like the bike shifting and stuff were the opposite of the Quicksilver, where like the one time where he goes faster, he shifts into the wrong gear. They never did that in this movie, and they did do some like very cinematic like shots, like close-ups of like the bikes, and like the bikes were doing the right things,
I'll meet you at 4. I'm not giving it a 5.
Do you like the West?
Goddamn FTP scene.
Do you also like the West? Like they're like I want to do a bike tour out that way. I don't think I probably ever will. I think it'd be complicated, but riding through Zion and all that would be like absolutely mind blowing, and also like a +1 for the movie. Like some kids who had probably never seen anything but the city, and the inner city at that are like experiencing the West on bikes. That's part of the, I don't know, that was part of the appeal too. I like those big broad shots. I got to do a work trip filming out west. It was motorcycles, but I absolutely loved it because it's the best backdrop almost anywhere in the world, right? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the scenery, like I said, it was shot well, but I don't think I got none of the drama from this epic bicycle ride when I watched it. I don't know.
Other people are agreeing with you, and like I said, it was like a almost a solid 50% on like reading reviews. Like some people who thought it was nothing, and then other people were giving it
Yeah.
awards at film festivals, and I'd be the guy in the jury giving it the awards.
Diversity, obviously, this one scores the highest out of, I think, any movie, maybe then Quicksilver. I think I tied it with Quicksilver at 4.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't go 5 is it is a bit caricature-y,
Yeah.
especially being like that. The other kids were in for violent offenses, but the white kid was not. He was in for
An eating disorder? What was he in for?
not eating.
What was he in for?
They really were trying to subvert stuff. Like the white guy should have been the guy that like stabbed someone.
Yeah, that was like a weird. That was a weird. Couldn't they have made that
No.
some other issue with him? Like I don't know.
There was another thing I kept trying to figure out. If it was, I don't know if you know who Adam Friedland is, comedian, and like
Maybe.
the kid looks remarkably like Adam Friedland. So I kept just being like, is like when did this movie come out? I was like very preoccupied for a bit, but like, is this Adam Friedland? But
Real quick, I also want to say, and I think a lot of you, like in the chat, and you as well, couldn't do it. But I just liked almost, in a way, like the Disney element of like when the one guy finally comes out with the jersey on. You're just like, hell yeah! Like I mean, it's like the world fucking sucks right now, and there was like some stuff in that movie where I'm like, that part just made me feel good. Like the guy came around at the right point that makes you feel good when you want someone to come around. Like.
I'm not saying it's like the worst movie I've ever seen, but I didn't get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Anyways, go on.
No, we're good. Coolness of family. I mean, the only really family we get a glimpse of is Matthew Modine's dad, who's an asshole. So maybe go 1 there.
Yeah, I guess I would kind of consider, if I was going to rate this on family, I would consider family like the staff at the school, and then like the other woman. Just basically that's the family character in this. Like, I mean, obviously there's a true family link, but the family is his family is the people he works with, right? I mean, he does this solo bike ride. His passion is his work and all that kind of stuff. So I would say some of those like school scenes were pretty real, So I don't know.
Robert Cardoza subscribed to the channel.
All right, I'm on too. Acting, again, we're going to disagree here. I gave it a 1.
Oh,
again,
1? You didn't think those kids acted like they were, like, okay. I was never taken out of the plot. Were you ever taken out of the plot by the acting? Like, even if you didn't like the movie, the plot, really?
Yeah. Just the caricatureness of, like, the kids I couldn't get over.
All right.
But I'm willing to I'm willing to meet in the middle. But like you don't like the main character. It was milquetoast. It made me feel nothing, which is, in my opinion, worse than bad acting. At least bad acting makes me feel something. I felt nothing watching this.
But that again, like that's where I would separate. Like when I'm talking about RAD, I'm like the actors weren't bad, the lines were horrible. So like if I'm rating RAD on acting, I'm like I can't take it away from, well, as Naptown said, well, Crew Jones riding over a dumpster over a fence made me feel good. But yeah, I guess to me it's like if I'm rating acting, like I'm rating acting, and I don't think anyone was a bad actor in the movie. Like I believed all the characters. Like I mean,
oh man,
you already have a thing against the main character,
right? Who's doing most of the talking, and actually his delivery of lines is really what I hate the most about it. I don't know why.
What else is
something
he in?
Always?
I was trying to.
Stranger Things is the main thing recently, and what else is I looked this up too.
He reminded me of the comedic actor from Airplane. That's what I kept thinking. What's his name?
Yeah. Full Metal Jacket was the other thing. He's
Oh,
not bad in that, but like he's a Joker.
Huh.
Which yeah, you don't even really like. I guess and he was in Dark Knight Rises, and I don't particularly enjoy him in that either.
I saw that once, and it was that was 90s, right?
Yeah. Not a lot else, but yeah, I've never really enjoyed his delivery. Anyway, fine, I'll see it again. I'm being way too nice here.
I don't think this movie's as bad as you thought it was. I think maybe you were having a bad day.
I would be saying I'd be willing to watch
You
it
should-
again, but it was really
You should smile more.
fine. I'll bump it up to a 3. Really, but we're gonna. I'll meet you at 2.5.
That was not even an option, but all right, I'll take it.
I don't know.
I'll take it. I don't know. I had a good time.
Really bad movie. It's humor. I gave him a 1.
Yeah,
Wait, did you laugh out loud that many times?
there was like 1 or 2 jokes between him and I watched this early on in this 2 weeks ago. Like I don't remember characters.
And the bike gags, I'm giving you those points up in bike scenes. I'm not
Yeah.
giving you humor. There was no actual humor in it.
No, between the two of them, when they were like she was having a drink and he was eating an apple the one night, there was like one joke in there that I kind of like laughed at, and there was a couple thing with the kids like when they were drinking where it was kind of funny, it's hard to give it a lot of points for humor because they really weren't going for much comedic relief. I mean,
I think they were trying that. The one bit with like the sprinter guy, he kept. I don't know, he had some thing they were going for, and then I don't know the bad boy was trying to be funny, but
yeah,
none of it landed for me. I don't know.
yeah. I'm not gonna harp on that. They didn't land a lot of the humor that they tried to add, and I think maybe what I'm saying is I didn't even feel like they needed the comedic relief in it. I thought it was
Fair enough. Yeah. But they certainly do still ride bikes in the goddamn movie though.
Yeah.
Sure. And continue. And that's what I'm saying. I think I want this to be a documentary more than this movie. I feel like this is a really cool story that, in my opinion, didn't get by the amalgamation, not actually telling true stories of this. Because, like, I want to know how these seemingly, like,
I do too.
troubled youths built bikes and rode them to the, like, and I don't think it was necessarily the Grand Canyon, but it was a lot of, like, bike touring that they did, right? Like, I want to know more about that story. And I did not get that out of this movie. And I think that also is part of why I'm like, this could have been such a better movie. I think to be honest, most of the effort went into the production and not enough into creating drama. Because if in my opinion, if you're not going to go with humor, then you better fucking have drama. And I just don't feel like that was there other than like 2 scenes in the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I
there's
definitely.
tension, but there's not drama.
See, I agree with you, and I was kind of, and I wanted to go a little farther, and I didn't when I was trying to research like more of the actual guy, the main character, because I'm like, did someone read an article in like a really good magazine or in the New York Times, like in the Sunday section? I feel like they got this idea from something that was very well written. Like this guy heard this somewhere and got a lot of information out of it and decided to make a dramatization of it. So I definitely agree that there is like the documentary potential on the guy who did this is through the roof, you know. And if people have archival photos, and I'm sure this guy who rides takes photos, and the people who drove the SAG support had taken photos, you're right. This would be, and I think I saw it like a little bit with that lens, you know, of like this is like an interesting story to tell. So I don't maybe why I enjoyed it a little outsized, but.
That's okay. I mean, again, I think most people would think I'm crazy for as much as I love American Flyers. I'm willing to see that, hey, movies scratch people differently at different points and whatever they're watching it. I get it. Not faulting you. It's not a bad movie, right? It's just like, it was just a movie that if this movie didn't involve bikes, I would not have thought twice about this movie ever again. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that because I think maybe they hooked me with the bike stuff. And
then it was skiing. Would you care as much about this? No.
Not if it's not the Olympics.
So a couple of trouble youths being brought up to the mountains in Vermont to go
yeah.
alpine skiing.
Yeah.
No, come on.
Yeah. Even if they used all the right terms, because I wouldn't know them anyways. Yeah. If it was about curling, though, if this guy was teaching these troubled youths to curl, I would be all in.
But they definitely did at least get the things were right, other than my beef with the ramp test. But yes, like that was right.
And for the record, I disagree about the ramp test because I think it's just a bike nerd being bike nerding. Look at his paw.
Little guy.
Yeah.
So that brings it to a 22.5.
Way higher than you want it to be. Way lower than I
But that's
want it
okay. It started off as
to be. Yeah.
only 1 point higher than Quicksilver.
Yeah, no way.
Down the middle of the pack. So
If someone was going to make you sit down and watch one of these two movies again, you would way rather watch Hard Miles.
then what?
Quicksilver.
Oh,
You don't want to watch Quicksilver again.
yeah. No, that I'll agree with. I will agree with that. All right. Shall we move on to The Flying Scotsman?
Yeah. Another movie that I love.
This movie, my problems were way more pure movie than anything else. I think it. My main problem with the movie was I understand the point of not achieving the mile or even the world record or whatever, the pursuit world record, the pinnacle of the movie. But you have to do so much more if you're going to make then like the through line his depression earlier in the movie to like really pull me into that, because you got me so invested in this other thing that I'm not thinking about that through this like other lens. And then when you totally sort of like take the most dramatic part of his life and then make the whole third act about something else, that's where my problem went. And I totally just like, man, if I check the thing, I'm like, we still got like an hour left in this movie. He must have done something else amazing that I'm completely unfamiliar with, because there's so much time left in this movie, right? And unless the point was for it to be a tragedy and not a heroic movie, right? Like, I just don't get that choice. And I think it's important because I know he has been outspoken about his depression and bipolar disorder and stuff like that. But then, like, you need to do a lot more heavy lifting with that character earlier in the movie to make that the focal point of the third act for me.
I definitely think their foreshadowing of the mental issues was not done well enough, because they tried to do that like with the original doc scene, and that should have been a moment where there was more of a conversation there to make you know that was like part of the plot, because you thought you were watching a bike movie. And like, you're the same. I checked the time as well. I'm like, where are we going? Like, from here. Like, and
I thought, we're gonna do this thing where it's gonna ebb and flow, so he's gonna kind of come down off the hour record. And I knew that he had another world record from like Googling him before. So like that's the thing, is like the big pinnacle is gonna be his like rise back to this other thing that he wasn't good at, right? Or like, that's going to be what this movie's about. And it just, when that happened like so fast after, I was like, what are we doing for the rest of this movie? And not that couldn't have been a cool storyline, but they just, again, they skipped the heavy lifting that you have to do earlier to make me care about this character. I'm really big on that in movies. If you haven't picked up on that for like all of our conversations, is like, you need to make me care about these characters. I really do think that is your number one job in the first act of the movie, is to make me give a shit about these people, right? Like, and if you fail to do that, you've lost me for the rest of the movie, no matter how good or whatever the twist is or whatever the thing is. I don't care about the people that are in it. I don't care about what happens to them. So that's a big pet peeve of mine in movies just in general. And like, where most movies I don't like have really weak, like, first acts that don't connect well to their ending.
And that was one of the, like, reading like the reviews when it came out. Some people said the characters were really thin. I felt like they did bring it back around. I didn't leave with that impression at the end. You know what I mean? I felt like they did flesh it out at some point. So you didn't.
I agree. The characters were strong, but they didn't make me care about the thing that they spent the latter half, the end of the movie focusing on. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care about that part of him as much because he didn't get me to invest that. I didn't see this, like, there were some moments obviously, but like there wasn't like this like tension with that throughout the earlier parts of the movie. And they had like a couple little scenes here and there, but there was never like really intensity around those scenes either. They're sort of just like off to the side. He's sitting off to the side after the party. He's like a little bit depressed, chilling in bed, right? There's never these like heavy moments, right? That they could have, I feel like, done to like set it up for like, hey, this thing has been brewing in the background this whole time, and this is what's actually going to tear his life apart later in his life. And that's what this movie's about, right? Like, I feel like this movie just didn't know what it's about. I think that's my main problem with it. Not that it's a bad movie. It's executed well, good moments, good script, good acting.
Yeah.
All short on that last piece.
Yeah, it was really well shot. It was really good acting. I loved it had a very, like, again, whereas Hard Miles had a very modern, very specific camera lens choice that was very noticeable to anyone who does any kind of videography. Like if Terry was in the chat right now, he would know they watched Hard Miles. They were using anamorphic lenses. They were using lenses that were detuned to have this crazy background blur and all that stuff. This movie had a very filmic look to it. It was very cinematic. It was very film grainy, and a very specific choice of the scenes that fit with the location it was shot in and all that stuff. I definitely agree that they needed to lean harder early in, like this is an issue with this man, like because early on you're just thinking he's this genius who understands things people don't understand, which is true.
Right, it's savant.
Yeah, I mean, that is true part of his character, but like, they don't like. That's what they're leaning into. But yeah, there definitely should have been more. Like that dock scene should have had a conversation that went deeper than "I'm fine." You know, like sitting in the stairwell, not wanting to be at the party. Like, I feel like the only reason I even got those clues are just because I have friends who have these issues. Like, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But if you were just,
could have been a little bit more heavy-handed with it to make me like pulled into this and like to feel that like, oh, there's undercurrent through this thing. But with that being said, there's one other reason we'll get to that. There was a couple other low. There was like one or two other low scores, but this was either like very high or very low. Plot, I honestly had to give it 2 for that weird pacing issue. I could be talked into 3 if you really feel strongly, but I feel like that was a really big, like, just deflated aspect of this movie for me. I can personally get over.
It's such a cool story, and I don't think if you didn't go in knowing it was, I mean, again, this is like the Hollywood version, but it is true. Mm-hmm. Like the stuff he achieved is real, and he achieved it the way he wanted to. Like he really did this stuff, and like the jokes. And I don't know why they don't call it the UCI in the movie, where they got afraid they were going to get sued because they call it the W something. But it's a UCI, the same thing everyone still complains about all the time with like the sock length rules and all this stuff. But like the fact of like them doing stuff to like that is true. Like they were really doing stuff to outlaw this guy from being on his bike on the track and beating the guys riding Cannondales and like
very similar to RAD.
yeah.
Maybe they watched a little too much RAD and was like, oh hey, you know how they got away with this? At Hell Track.
Yeah,
maybe we should do that to him.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like,
I do think this is a different era of filmmaking too, right? Because this was like early 2000s. I think there was like a blip in like the production to distribution, so it got like shelved for a little while, which took a lot of the era out of it. So I think it was like made in 2002ish and didn't release to 2007 or something like that. So like there was like background drama with the problems and the funding, or something that was funded earlier and like greenlit earlier, but then like stumbled. I think I didn't get a chance to read a ton of it, but it definitely had like hurdles to get over to even get out to the public. So it's good that it did. I'm be okay with like bumping that up to it.
The real story is, I guess, you do have to keep it like we're judging it on the movie.
His life is interesting, and his life was interesting, but like the movie itself didn't do that good of a justice to it. Bike scenes, I'd say 3, more so just because like solo track cycling is hard to make cool scenes. You felt the tension. You felt like the really trying, like pushing yourself past the limit. I think they did a good job of that. But like, there's only so much you can do with a bike going around a track. You know.
I do think they did a good job. I think if you were not a cyclist, they did a good cinematic version of making you understand like how hard you have to go to do something like this, because it's an absolutely brutal thing to do. It's like it's punishment, you know. And obviously this guy's a glutton for it. That's part of the story too, which was good. That he's like, I'm going again. Nobody in their right mind would do that. Nobody does that. Nobody's ever done that. This guy literally did as like even just a semi-pro. Like, I mean, you know.
Because there's a quote from Eddie Works or whatever, like, I forget if they addressed in the movie or not, but like, it was like the worst point of his life was like attempting this record.
Yeah.
That it's like, I forget whatever the quote was, but it's like, it's hell.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good, I think the moment that really like set in for me when he just like grabbed a timer, grabbed that dumb little exercise bike and nothing other than like staring at the timer and just like pedaling as hard as he could, seemingly. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
We're watching YouTube. I'm watching this movie.
Yeah.
Dude's on a glorified like exercise, or not even glorified, like a basic ass exercise bike, staring at a timer.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
Yeah, I got an app. I've got movies up.
Yeah.
I've got my phone if I
Do
want.
you want to go high? I think 3 is fair though, because like I don't know. There wasn't.
It's hard to say. I think they did a good job of filming it, and the around town scenes were good, and the training scenes were good. Yeah. Like where they riding in the country, like it's just what you can do. Like you said, it's what you can do with track cycling. I mean, if you're filming,
I think there's limited things. Yeah. I mean, especially compared to like doing all the tricks and the crazy VMX stuff compared to RAD. Like I don't think we can move into that territory. I think RAD is definitely making more interesting things to watch on a bike in this movie.
Yeah.
I think soundtrack, I give it a 2. I can recall like even a single song in it, but I guess nothing was bad per se. I'm gonna drop it to 1, frankly.
It was all just bad. I mean, it was just. I wouldn't even give it. I guess I wouldn't give it a 1 because it never got in your way. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
I think 2 is fair because it's all just like sometimes when I make a YouTube video, it's all about like the song selection has to be right, and it's only about the song. When I make a video for a client, I'm just trying to slip something in the background that is there, and that's what this movie was. It's the thing that I don't want people like in some of my videos to like, especially professional work, to notice the song, but I want it to be adding from there being dead air. You know what I mean? I don't even, you know. And that's just the way this movie was. It wasn't really about that. And like when he is like struggling on the track, it's the right track because you never think about it. It's fitting the scene, you know. So
true. That to me doesn't necessarily make it good. It elevates to me, so I don't want to go above a 2.
All right.
Because I don't feel like it's elevating in any way, shape, or form. Diversity, it's a 0. So a single woman on a bike and a single minority in the entire movie. Like there's no diversity to this one.
It's just Scotland.
I don't think that's fair given like where it takes place. Yeah. It's not a particularly diverse. It is. The movie probably did a good job of representing the people that live.
Yeah.
Early Scotland or whatever, wherever they were in Scotland, but like.
You got the rich,
it is a category, and unfortunately, we have to rate it.
You got the rich Scottish people with the nicer bike shop down the street, and you got the semi-pro struggling to make it. Like that's about,
coolness of family, though, I gave it a 5 because that wife, fantastic support. Like I expected that movie to go a little bit differently, right? Like the wife was like, "Why can't you just be happy with it?" And she was like, so understanding, so in it, got it. Talked Pippin away from like going and like bothering him when he was off in his like dealing with this stuff, which may not have been good, but like clearly she understood what he needs or like what was going on there. And if you want to extend like the family to like his like these people around him, they were all very supportive and good. Pushed when they need against him when they needed to, even when there was like internal drama. I feel like it was all healthy. So I think that was a 5. That I think any of us would be lucky to be married to somebody as understanding and somebody that gets you like his wife did.
And they were able doing it without turning her completely one-dimensional rubber stamper. She had like she had personality, and so did the people around him. Like
Yeah.
even his best friend being like fuck off and having to like walk away at times, and yeah, there was definitely they did a good job with that 100%. Like they didn't turn anyone into a caricature of someone who deals with someone with depression, in my opinion.
No, exactly. There was no caricatures in this movie at all. Even the comedic relief with Pippin was like warranted and like fit. It wasn't outlandish. I did see somebody there. There's like there's I guess a term in British movies for like Brit flick, something Brit flick, where it's like movies with like loyal wife, pastoral
Uh,
British scenery, and like da da da. So apparently this is like a trope. So they actually in like UK cinema, this got like panned a little bit because it was falling through. But I've never seen these tropes, so for me, it
oh
didn't
yeah.
bring it.
I'm also like I mean, I grew up being like a complete like Anglophile because I liked all British music and British punk rock and like '60s stuff. So I definitely am. I enjoy that aspect of the movie as well because
Yeah.
it's something that I've always the places I've wanted to go and people I've wanted to hang out with. But
Is Johnny Lee Miller British or Scottish, or was that
oh, I don't know.
put on?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Only
up
thing I've
anything.
ever really seen him in that I can remember is Hackers, which is phenomenal in, but I don't know whether that was
Huh.
a fake American accent or this is a fake
I don't.
Scottish accent.
I've never seen
Also-
Hackers. Yeah.
Okay, well that's separate. We need to fix that. Great trainer movie. Side note, great soundtrack, very pumping, like good movie for the trainer. And I believe it's free with ads on YouTube. One thing when I was Wikipediaing the real guy, because he made that one comment where somebody called him an Englishman or something,
Oh, yeah,
and he
the
like took issue
UCI
with that.
guy.
Fun fact: he was born in England.
Oh, really?
He was raised in Scotland and has a Scottish accent, so he identifies and like defends that he's Scottish. But actually, technically, by birth, he is an Englishman. So I
Naptown
thought it
City.
was funny that he took umbrage with that.
That's the dude in Train Spotting. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he was in Trainspotting. I don't think he was.
Yeah, yeah.
Was he? I don't think he was as main of a character.
No.
Though was he? Hackers. He's the main guy, and obviously this seems.
That's so interesting. They just because they really went hard into the Scottish angle. Like he gets the sponsoring
Yeah.
because he's Scottish, and that might have been real. Like I mean, the guy walked into the right
And that's what I'm
place.
saying. They had a thing that he defends that he's Scottish. Blah blah blah. So anyway,
Because what does that UCI guy say? He's like, I'm from Bavaria and I still call myself a German.
right?
I'm like,
Yeah. Why? What's the big deal?
Yeah, well, you guys all did a lot of following the rules back in the day, and where did that get us? So,
Yeah. Humor was I gave it a 3. Like
there was some good spots.
Pippin, obviously. I forget his real name. Bobby. What's the guy's name? Will always be Pippin from Lord of the Rings. Pippin without a wig. He I think led a lot to that. The thing he had with I think whatever was his name, Karen, like the wife's friend or whatever, where they had like the tattoo bit and like there's some good moments. Again, not really trying to be funny, but I thought when they were trying to be funny, it landed. I thought his one-offs were good. Brian Cox was very funny when he was trying to be. We didn't even talk about Brian Cox. Brian Cox is great in everything he's in, but I thought he was particularly good here. He still rode bikes at the end of the movie.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because man, have you? So I know clearly you've done some research on who he was and beyond that, but like, wow, like what a man! Multiple suicide attempts after that. Divorced his wife.
So actually, he
came out as
attempted
gay.
suicide 3 different times in his life.
Now he, at some point came out as gay, but still then went out to won some hill climb challenges and just like. I'm sure there's a biography. I'm sure there's a really good, like, highly rated biography of this guy that I would probably really enjoy to read the whole story. And this movie specifically did choose a period. Like, we're focusing on this. It was, and again, they might have messed up on what they or how they did it, but like definitely absolutely fascinating. Like, I mean, a guy going up and beating Chris Boardman. And Chris Boardman is like. Yeah. I mean, like that, just like cycling royalty, and this dude literally did beat him in world championships.
Yep.
Like,
phenomenal. No, and I thought overall this was a good movie. Like I'm not. I take issue, like I said, with this one picadillo that I have, but overall this was a good movie. It rates fairly highly.
Yeah, like when it was over, I'm like, I enjoyed this. I went and did more research. I was, and not just because we were doing this. If I would have watched that, I would have been doing the same thing. I would have been like, oh, I want to know more about this. I knew a very surface level. This movie gave me more information, and now I want to know even more about this guy. You know.
Yeah. My guess might be, if I had to put money on it, I bet you that he gave the rights to use his thing, but like was like, I want this to like talk about depression and suicide and like mental health stuff, and maybe that was sort of like forced their hand to make the movie a little bit more about that
That could be
than
true.
probably. I'm the total, but like he is. If you go and look, he is very outspoken about mental health, talking about things to do and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if like that was part of like the part and parcel of like getting the rights. I have nothing other than intuition to lead that. Sorry, we have been ignoring the chat. I don't know if there's anything.
Do you want to? I have to take a leak. I'm gonna grab another beer. Do you want to check out the chat and chat for a second?
Yeah.
And I'll be right back.
You got it.
Sorry, this guy is so.
Crew Jones riding a dumpster fence made me feel good. Nice. Let's see. BMX fans. Tim and I were talking about whether we should do this again. I think there's at least Triple to Belleville is another movie that's come up a lot. BMX Bandits. I think we could probably get one more of these in at some point. I don't know when, but I definitely think we're open for more. And if you have other suggestions, Hard Miles was definitely a suggestion, and Rad were both suggestions that came from the chat before. So, dude, Naptown is on fire. Hack the Planet. Yes. Yeah, Matthew Lillard definitely kills it in that movie. Of course, class. RV guy 123 PS. I'm with the American Flyers. This is it. Clunky Bikes. I'm not sure which one you were talking about. The score was that Flying Scotsman or Hard Miles. I'm gonna guess Flying Scotsman. Comment about his seat. And yeah, I believe he was Sick Boy. But those were, those were not the main character movies. You didn't get to experience them a lot.
Where'd he go?
Somebody confirmed he is British. Boucher. Okay, there's nothing too crazy. Just some comments out of color. Other than somebody saying Johnny Lee Miller is British or some sort.
Oh, okay.
And one of the writers in the movie E.T. riding the BMX scene name is Robert Cardozo.
Huh. By the way,
I think we have somebody hit us about like other movies and stuff like that. I think I filled them in that we had talked about like at some point. Yeah, we probably could do one more of these. I think would make sense.
I do have to say that I don't. Everyone loves to say it. E.T. is not a bike movie. Die Hard.
Yeah, I was going to say that E.T. will not be on that.
Yeah.
It's not a bike movie. It needs to be the primary thing. I think so. In research, the problem that I had, because I kind of took on like finding the movies for the next round of this, right?
Yeah.
Going through a lot of there's so many documentaries, but very few dramatizations. I struggle with that word. Sorry. And I don't really want to do docs. You know what I mean? Like,
because that's not what I. Yeah.
It's not that much fun, you know what I mean? We're just talking about we talk about how well a doc was done, but I feel like that's not as exciting as like the debates we're having versus like, did we enjoy this acting or this delivery or this other stuff?
Yeah,
right?
I also don't want to criticize how a documentary like portrays shifting gears, like because that's not the point of it. Like to me, it's like that's the interesting thing about watching a cycling movie. Did they take any real cycling and put it into this movie? Like, did they have, like Rad has BMX riders. That's real BMX riding. They didn't, besides for the dance scene, like have to fake much, But I do think like we've talked about before we came on, Triplets of Belleville is an animated movie that everybody recommends to cyclists. Um, there is a good one about resistance, and I watched it a long time ago. That's why it wouldn't be bad to watch again. It's based on a true story, but it's not a documentary about a rider who is transporting hidden messages in his bike frame. He's a pro. The pro season what is that called? Uh, Anyways, that'll be an easy Google. Those are two, but yeah, people have definitely.
Illicit feedback is saying something else that why I didn't put Triple to Belleville this round is because it isn't really a bike movie.
Oh, it's not.
But there is cycling content. It was just what my brief research said also. So I think while we had this time for very specific, like these are all, you can't argue any of these are bike movies, right? So
yeah,
like,
they're bike movies.
I think before we get into ones that are maybe bike content, like I think we still have a couple more to go before that. So the last one, unfortunately, Tim didn't get a chance to watch, but I watched probably too much of.
Yeah, you went the other route. So let me.
I went the other direction.
So yeah, well,
So
it's an anime movie.
yes.
Yeah. So
I guess it's a manga.
Manga. Yeah, that's right. That's why I paused because I'm like I just heard you say the correct
That
word
had been
before.
adapted into an anime
Yeah.
series, and then there has been several movies made about it. So this is like a whole franchise. This isn't like a one-off thing. And I had done no research. Apparently, we did not pick a good spot to jump in.
And you had warned us about that maybe that this wouldn't be a thing. But what happened to me is when I tried to look it up, one, I saw what happened, like all the shows versus the movie, and typing the movie didn't get me quite there. And then everything it was on, like, it was like, oh, you can watch this on this subscription or this subscription. And I'm like, well, how do I just watch the movie version? I got overwhelmed. Then I got really into the Olympics, and then I never wanted to sit down and read subtitles. So that's why I didn't get into it anyways. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think had I not been, am I not currently unemployed, I might have gone that route as well. But I found Pluto TV had the movie. YouTube has the shows. I started watching the movie on Pluto TV, which is an app I've never used.
Yeah, that popped up.
Cannot
for me.
recommend.
That's why I was like,
because
good. That threw me a hesitation too. I'm like, what is this thing? It says I could cancel in 7 days, but I've never even heard of this before. Yeah.
It's weird because it has live TV also. Like I had a bad experience with it, but I might end up using this because I dropped TV recently completely, so I just have internet. But anyway, so it had it, but like when it would get through a commercial break, the first commercial would play fine, the second commercial would freeze every time, and I would back out, and then it would start playing for a minute, and then it would go do the commercial break. The first commercial would play fine, the second one froze. Crazy. I then waited another day, tried it on a different device and didn't have that problem. Watched some of the movie, but was realizing the subtitles it was like late at night. I wasn't having it, so I shut it down with bed. Tried again on the other TV, was having the same problem. So it's like just a glitchy ass app. But then I found it on YouTube proper that there's just the same people that have the show available also have the movie available. It just doesn't. It's like kind of buried in the things. So I was trying to find. So sorry, I'm all over the place. So I started watching the show at some point during this because I couldn't get the movie to work the one day. So I was like, well, let me see what the show's about. The show is good, but that channel that like whatever the YouTube channel that was doing the show, I was trying to like go back in and pick up where I left off when I was having problems. So while I hit that, then I saw they had all of them. So I was like, oh, I can watch the movie right here. So then I watched it. I can send a link to anybody who is trying to get to it. However, what I did not realize, because I did no research on this movie other than it was just like, oh, this is one of the two animes that people talk about with bikes.
Mangas.
Well, these are animes. It's on the manga.
Tell me what the difference. I don't know what the difference is. One just like a comic book or?
And not otaku. Yeah, manga is a comic book. Okay. So it's a comic series. They made a TV show based on the comic series.
Okay, so the TV show is anime. Got it.
Yes. But when you're talking about, what I will say, and I'll get into a second, is when you're talking about like shifting the right directions and like the bike, like this is wall to wall bike stuff. Like
Ah.
it's absolutely, and like even the detail of the animation, we'll get into it in a second. But anyway, so do not watch the movie. If you're watching this and you're curious, watch the series because this movie makes no sense if you haven't seen the series. Essentially, the series is a one-off where they go to this like out-of-town bike race, and all the characters from that they've competed against in the past and some new ones are there, and they do zero effort of like trying to catch you up on who any of these people are or why it matters. And like one of the main plot lines is about the relationship between two characters, which you will have no idea about, and they do no service to try to like catch you up on it. So it's really like just a continuation of the series, very far into it. So if you haven't seen it, it's not like, oh, you can pick this up without having watched. No, you have to watch the whole thing, and not the whole thing, but like I have at least 5 or 6 episodes in when I watched it, and then I at least understood the characters and some of that stuff. Didn't understand a lot of the people from the other schools though. Anyway, but take a step back. The movie and show does such a good job of the details of bike racing and bikes in general. So the main plot line of the story is this guy who is an otaku, which is like an anime manga nerd, and he bikes once a week 90 kilometers to a city so he can get toys and comics and DVDs of weird, obscure anime stuff. But he does it on this term that they keep using called a mommy bike, which is essentially a townie.
Mommy? They say mommy? That's the
A mommy
English
bike, they call
translation?
it. Yeah. That's the things I'm saying. It's multiple characters use it, so it's not just like one character's affectation. Like it's apparently what this bike is called. So he's been doing it on this mommy bike, and like this guy who they're like starting high school, and in Japan they all have like all these clubs, and they all have these rooms. Every room has a club. And the anime club didn't have enough members, so it was closed down. So the one guy who saw him riding his bike up like this mommy bike up this like crazy steep hill was like, who the hell is this kid? And was like, oh, race me up the hill, and if you win, I'll join the anime club instead of the bicycle club. And like set this whole thing up to like test the kid to see how well he did, and he did like phenomenally. But it turns out like not only does he have a mommy bike, but like his parents put like a tiny little gear on it so he couldn't go very fast. And he's doing like a 200 cadence to ride essentially. So then he ends up joining the bicycle club instead, blah, 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 blah. But I think the magic in it is like, yeah, it's like there's just a whole episode about climbing. Like other characters teaching him how to climb. And that'll be like an entire episode of the thing. And it's legitimately good advice. Talks about the like passion of road racing. It talks about the techniques of road racing. It talks about all this other stuff. The animation, like here's a great detail, like that I think exemplifies how detailed this goes. The little piece of housing that goes from your chainstay, loops around, connects to your derailleur, right? You were animating a bike, and you were taking shortcuts or like weren't trying to be like incredibly faithful to the bike. There's no way you're animating that little wire in every frame, right? Like
Yeah.
that wire is animated in every single frame, right? Like the precision of the thing, they do this like really cool thing because they're trying to like dramatize everything about bike riding. So like every time somebody shifts a gear, like that's to a close up of the cassette, and like a little spark comes and the thing goes and it like makes this crazy sound. And then like as they're climbing this hill and they all do this like crazy anime over the top like stuff.
Yeah.
And like they all have their own unique riding styles, so those like turn into like almost like special powers. Like there's a lot, like feels like you're watching Dragon Ball Z version of like a couple high school kids racing each other up like a mountain at one point. It's really cool. So it is 100% a love letter to cycling. Like we were talking about like knowing intimate details of everything about cycling. This show was clearly written by people who are really into this, do a really good job, spare no like detail when they're doing this stuff. And the animation, the descriptions, like how accurate everything is, it's just very much like they will take an entire 30-minute episode to cover like half a climb.
Here's a
Like
so
really
yeah.
milking the drama of cycling.
A question about this, which would not mark it down for me at all, but just out of curiosity. So is this something that like so as a cyclist, you're appreciating all this stuff. Would someone who is not a cyclist enjoy this at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so it's that leans that hard. That's what I was gonna. Yeah, so it leans
Yeah.
that hard into.
I mean, unless you're looking at it as like it will walk you through every detail of cycling, like it. And so in that regards, if you're willing to like go along with it, yes, I think you could enjoy it. But I think it speaks more to cyclists than anybody else. Like that would.
It's a
So I
cycling.
guess mixed.
It's a cycling anime show for cyclists.
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like that's really who it was based on, and just like was not expecting to really. And I'm not an anime person by any means. I do know what manga is, so maybe a step above Tim.
One
I
step
have watched.
above me. Yeah.
I have watched some of the classics. Like I've seen Death Note, and I've watched Ghost in the Shell, and some
I
other,
know what
like,
I know what Dragon Ball Z is, and I know
I didn't even like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not, but like everybody
I just
went to
know
high
what it
school with
is,
big
and
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
it was on Cartoon Network, and I used to listen to my music, and I just wanted something on TV when I like in high school, and even after that, I'm just somebody who always had my headphones on, listening to CDs or tapes. And when Dragon Ball Z came on, I didn't turn it off, but I never knew what was happening because I've never heard any of the dialogue.
So two guys floating in the air yelling at each other every time I turned the show
Yeah.
on. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But like, there's at some point, the only reason I'll watch an anime or something like that is if enough people have told me, have like talked about it and that it's good, then I'm like, okay, at some point this transcends like the genre and I need to watch it. So
Naptown just
there's one other
said
show.
Naptown just said his anime nerd son who hates bicycles liked it. So
There you go.
so it does hit an anime. So I guess maybe it's either if you're a bike nerd or an anime nerd, you'll like it. But if you're neither, you probably aren't going to care, right?
Yeah, because I think it's hard to suspend like the problem. It has the problem that I have with anime that like the drama is so over the top, and then there's this like coy little like thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it has all that. It is 100%. It's not like, oh, this is an anime for people that don't like anime. No, this is like very, very anime. This is like anime amped up. Like this is everything about fighting.
There's like
Other
freeze
anime.
frame, zoom in shots.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep, of like then like details taken out of like, like and especially like the one kid in the show is an anime nerd and otaku as they call it. So like there's this whole sub context going through the show of this show called Princess Love Pancake Girl or something like that. So like that's in the movie. So they get tied back to the movie at one point. That's to ruin the movie for anybody. But their entire team gets in a line behind him and they sing the theme song and that's what they use to like get their cadence going and like blow by all the other teams is like, so there's all these other teams like and they're like I made love. But like none of the other characters are like that. They're all the other characters are all super serious, right? Like straight people, like straight, like as opposed to like straight man, like the color man, straight man, whatever you want to call it, like the Abbott and Costello thing, right? So they're all like the straight guy. So the fact that they're all like getting behind him and doing the stupid anime song and getting really into it, it's like, yeah, there's these moments that you have to suspend disbelief. But in the movie specifically, because I think there's, I guess, more budget, but so it's flashier, and there's all these other teams and stuff like that. So they all have this like, I'm going to use my whatever crazy stance, and then like does this crazy thing and uses that to like climb this like punch real fast. Or like there's a point where then like there's 3 sprinters and they're all going and it's like, well, I have 8,500 cubic whatever lungs. I'm the oxygen guy. Blah.
my VO2 maxes.
Basically. And so the guy's like the bullet, and so he like does this like shoot thing, and then like, but like it's all hokey, but it all is like very, very cycling. I don't know how else to describe it. And like,
I need
but
to check it out.
Yeah, what were we saying with like Hard Miles, where I didn't feel like they did a good job of like really wrenching out the drama of cycling. Like, I've never seen any piece of media do it as well as Yowamushi Pedal the series does. So, not that it's perfect.
Yeah. I do have to say, I feel like since you saw it and when you talk about anime, it sounds fine. I feel like if I just did my tropes on anime, it would be very racist. No, that was a total joke, but it is because when you try and like anime is so specific and everyone knows what we're talking about. When you're like, you know.
The main character, Four Eyes, or the nerd guy, just does this thing where like his whole thing is he always wants to catch up to people. He just loves cycling. That's the thing. Is like the whole thing they noticed was he was going up this crazy climb to their schools up on the top of this hill, and like he's smiling the whole time, and so there's a little bit of an alt cyclist thing to this too, right? So this kid that's on this like mommy bike is secretly this like sick ass cyclist. Unfortunately, like to get that, they have to give him a road bike. But they're always like, "How was he doing this on a mommy bike? Like this is insane. This is crazy. What? Oh my god, he upped his cadence another 30 RPMs." Like, so there is like that little bit of this like thing of at one point him and this other guy are chasing down a car. And he's learning about drafting at this point, and so he's following the other guy that's like leaning up to this car who flicked a cigarette at his mommy bike, and the guy's like, "You have to give him to like shove the cigarette back in his face," so he like bags it and like takes off, and he makes him like keep up with him, and they catch up to the sports car. It's funny, but like, yeah. So this little kid on like a townie is like crushing it.
That is one problem.
So I don't know if we want to really rate it, but it's.
That is one of the problems I find between, and again, I don't know this for sure because I can't speak the other languages, but taking Asian languages and translating them into English seems like it takes so much more interpretation or being way too literal than like any Romance or Germanic language translates fine into the other ones. It's something sometimes lost, of course. You know what I mean? Like people talk about how, you know, maybe French is more flowery and German is more straightforward, but in general, the translations, they work. I really think, like, you know, again, like Mommy Bike. Like, if they would have called it a mixed, you know, or a step through, like, that's probably a better English translation, right, into what we would be talking about. I need to ask, like, someone I know who can actually speak Mandarin or can speak Japanese. Like, is there something that is more lost in translation when you go that way? Like, is there even a different way of thinking from the way you speak with a character-driven language? You know what I mean? It's just because it does. Every time I've ever like tried to read anything that is out of the Japanese, like when it comes to like pop culture stuff, it doesn't feel quite right. You know, like I've read stuff that's translated. You know, I've read the Tao Te Ching or stuff when I was younger, or like. But I still, even with that, feel like, man, they did their best job. But I still don't think it's like conveying what the native language was conveying. I don't know. And it's, again, impossible to say unless you speak both languages.
Right, yeah.
Definitely.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I read a lot of Haruki Murakami novels, and I'm always wondering, like, is he this good, or is he have really good translators? Because a lot of the stuff is like is so fluid and so poetic, and it's like, is this how much of this is him, and how much of this is like? I always think that whenever I read a novel that's been translated, if I like it, I'm like, do I like this, the author or the translator in this case?
Yeah.
But I think yeah, the mommy bike thing works in this case because it is meant to be a pejorative because they're all essentially like teasing her first. So like in this case, even if it's not the direct translation, I think it is like what in English it gets across what the I think they're trying to do in the show. But yeah, they give him this like old steel road bike, and then he all of a sudden is like catching up to everybody and like doing all the crazy stuff. So they unfortunately I wish they had just kept it that like he just like continues to crush it. And it's like in the crazy races with the mommy bike still, that would have been cool, but like I get it.
That's my life.
And the movie he gets a carbon bike.
Oh really? Oh, and the movie goes carbon.
Yep.
It's so funny because literally we were only doing road rides when I started like my normal group ride that evolved into a group ride, which is still like a beer like run, but we just rode fast. I was riding my '01 Trek mountain bike that still had the rock shocks on it and everything, and then I got my dad's Motobacon, which was like an '81 steel road bike, and I felt like a rocket, and I'm like, oh, these other guys weren't working quite as hard as I was. And then later I find out that bike is not even a nice bike. It's like a very low end, heavy steel bike, but it still did. Like, it's like, hey, being a little aero, being a little, was definitely just for a road ride is a game changer. So it's funny that's like a thing where it's like, oh, now get on this. And it's like, because there were people who were saying that to me back then. And I'm like, bikes don't matter. It's the rider. And I still believe that to a lot of extent, but if you're doing 20 miles with people at 20 miles an hour, the bike's going to matter a little bit, so.
Yeah. There was one
Melanie
other thing
Vozar subscribed to the
to
channel.
bring up with this, but I'm losing it. Anyway. Something with the bike. Fudge. Oh, well. I lost it.
You were going into the carbon bike for the movie, if that helps.
No, I don't think that was really. There was one other thing that I thought you would get a kick out of. I'm struggling to remember it. But, oh well, if I remember it, I'll put it in the comments.
And you're saying this is, but like already I think you're right, that this is totally worth going and watching for people who are bike nerds. You've definitely sold me on this. So.
Give it like 3 or 4 episodes, I would say, and their episodes are about 20 minutes on YouTube.
That's perfect. That's what I do for lunch. I sit down or even breakfast.
Subtitles, though, just remember you got to make sure it's something where you can like actually. Watch.
Yeah. No, I go full I'm full like repose. I'm like when I stand all day. I stand at a standing desk. Like I'm a busybody. Like when I eat my lunch or drink my coffee, I'm on the couch, staring at the screen. That's like literally what I do. So that's probably perfect. So.
Cool. Yeah, I'm curious to know what you think about it. All right. So same way with like American Flyers. I might just be like really hyped on this right now, and you're gonna watch it and be like, yeah, you need to like take these numbers down quite a bit.
I don't know. Like you've already heard, because like the other 2 movies we're talking about sold me on like bike nerdery. So maybe it won't go that way. So maybe exactly how you're describing it.
I mean, if you're giving high points for bike nerdery, it is definitely bike nerdery. All right, hold on. So let me, real quick before we end, I'm going to I pulled in our ratings from last time. So, drum roll, the worst movie still is Quicksilver. Maybe I'll give Hard Miles another watch, but Hard Miles came in. See, again, when I say second to last now, but it is like very significant, the number jump. It goes from 15 to 22 and a half.
Yeah, Quicksilver is awful.
Correct. There's a bunch of them in like the, this like 22 to 30, but like Quicksilver, we only give a 15 on this rubric. So pretty big jump between. So it goes Quicksilver, Hard Miles, a tie between RAD and Premium Rush. Flying Scotsman takes 3rd place. Breaking Away in 2nd, and American Flyers in 1st. But again, I don't know. You might bump most of my numbers down.
Breaking Away is so much of a better movie than American Flyers. And it's cheesy too, but I mean,
if you want to go in and all right, so
but again, these are your
I think I still have my biased American Flyers. Let's re-rate American Flyers real quick. And then see where that.
Well, real quick, like just to be clear, these are your numbers with me trying to convince you to go up or down.
Correct.
So
yeah.
Because for me,
heavily, by the way, with Hard Miles.
Hard Miles would jump like real high.
Hard Miles beat Quicksilver by I think like a 1.5 before we had this conversation. So, but yeah, American Flyers, I have like a 5 for plot, a 5 for bikes. That's a 5 for.
So the plot is not a 5. The plot.
5. They get you so invested in the family drama and the disease and the thing. Kevin Costner from Dreamy. Come on.
They don't. Like they make me uncomfortable and kind of angry.
You're all road trip movie just in the middle of the 2nd act. Come on.
Have you watched
American
Flyers?
It's been a long time.
Oh, it's very unsettling.
Best movie, hands down. Even if you give those 4, it's still better. It's still rates higher than Breaking Away in this.
There's no one who's gonna agree with you on that. Any bike nerd is gonna get especially road cycling.
You know what
nerds.
it was? Breaking Away did not score high in diversity or acting.
No, and it shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't.
But to be fair, I gave American Flyers a 0 for acting.
And it has and it has like one of the most famous actors of all time in it. Yeah.
We were being really lenient on the acting this time around. I don't think we scored anybody really all that low. So these numbers are inflated.
Well, no, I really don't think in this round that the acting was anybody's the downfalls of these movies. They were like even RAD, which I think is not a good movie. I didn't think it was acted poorly. I think they had nothing to work with. I mean, Aunt Becky knows how to act.
Yeah. I really did enjoy doing this again, so I'm 100% down to do this one more time, at least.
Yeah, we could go back to the chat and see what else you guys have brought up.
2 seconds seems to come up a lot. That's not on my radar whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
we'll have to check that out. Yeah, we should write that down.
I mean, if we're hard up, we could go Triplets of Belleville, but it seems like,
they just have some animated scenes, but it's not a bike movie. Okay, that's good to know. Because the cover and the posters are all bike riding, so that's what probably is. What were you going to say, Dave?
I just had it. I'm going to butcher that. LA's Eddie.
What?
Yeah.
LA?
Yeah.
LA Eddie? That sounds like a documentary.
No, it's a...
That's so many more docs.
I can't get this to...
Allez. I mean, that's not good. Oh, here we go. Just got it on the screen. I didn't pull it up yet, so. Allez Eddie. Oh, this is German, so this will be subtitled too, right?
Oh, is
I'm
it?
fine with that.
Yeah. But underneath it says Eat, Hervanden, Comedy, Van Gert, Embrechts. Unless you just
Comedy drama sports. When the Village's supermarket. Oh, that took me right to the trailer. Yeah, that seems fine. Bicycle.
Is that the one I'm thinking of, or no?
There's the bicycle. I saw 2, and I was trying to find this one that had come across my radar, which is either the Bicycle Thieves or the Bicycle Thief. But again, I think it was a thing where it's like wasn't really a bike movie. It's like a bike getting stolen was like the impetus for a bunch of other stuff, but it wasn't actually really much about cycling.
I do think I should find the one that I did see because I had like a bike when I first moved here to the studio, which is now 10 years ago. I watched a ton of bike movies that I could find anywhere. But the one that I do think, finding the one that I was talking about where the guy is like basically a spy or resistance guy. He was a pro cyclist. And again, I think it's based on a true story, but it's not a documentary where he's like literally using his bike to get like messages to the resistance. I think that is one that would probably be legit for this kind of conversation. And now I'd like to see it again with the criteria that we have and everything. But the little five.
There's some talk above the diversity. So to reiterate, we did score that low
based on the movie,
not a 0, but we gave it a 1. I don't think you can count the Italians as diversity,
or the French at the end.
There might have been more diversity going on in the 500, but it was a little sprinkle on at the end, in my opinion. The mother character we did rate the mom, and the humor of the dad we gave some points to for sure. I'm trying to think what else, but yeah, the soundtrack was pretty middling. Again, it was just more of the opera stuff. It didn't really have like a lot of like enhancing things. And we were really tough on the acting last time. I'm noticing we might need to revisit these scores. because we gave, I think, one, the Quicksilver 1, Breaking Away 1, Premium Rush 0, and American Flyer 0. So,
Naptown just said if we're doing bike movies or bike theft movies, Pee-wee's Big Adventure should be included. But again, like
I don't think it's a big movie.
I think it's like E.T.
Oh,
And it definitely the plot is based on the bike, but there's not bikes in the rest of the movie. The plot is based on Pee-wee's bike, and there's one of the greatest bike scenes of all time is that goofy green screen Pee-wee riding the bike. I love it, but it's not a bike movie. You know, it's like,
yeah, and BMX Bandits, I think that was the other one that came up a couple times. I have heard of that one because Nicole Kidman's in it. So 2 seconds. BMX Bandits. LA Eddie, unless further research shows that it's not really about bikes, but so far it looks like everything about it is bike related, so I'm cool with that. Yeah, but so elicit feedback. I would go back and watch our other episode that we did we went through Breaking Away in detail and our pros and cons on it.
yeah. And if I could make myself remember when I end the stream to make it, I can make it.
Yeah, link. I think that would be a good move to link it in there. I think both a lot of that episode was me defending my position of American Flyers.
And me attacking American Flyers.
To be fair, American Flyers, I think, was like 5s across the board when we started, and I did put it down. And Breaking Away started lower, and it did come up. So I tried it. Hey, I've said this before. I pride myself as somebody that can have my mind change when presented with good evidence, and I think Hard Miles jumping up like a good 5 points is evidence of that. I'm willing to admit my faults. But I didn't hear any good arguments for American Flyers not being the best movie ever. I laugh, but it's not. It's the best. Yes,
I also feel like I'm definitely like to be argumentative, but also I could enjoy American Flyers, and my opinions wouldn't be so harsh if you weren't so so over the top over the top on it. There was the Bible, and there was the resurrection, and then American Flyers was the next step.
I mean, I've spent quite a bit of money on Coors Classic merch since becoming obsessed with the movie. I did move some of it up to the office. And people have started, I really love this. People, when they find it on Facebook Marketplace in your area, will now start to send it to me. So love it. Yeah. Love that I'm associated with that. I need to build a bike of that era so I can go with my helmet streams.
And again, there's nothing wrong with, I am equally obsessed with Paris-Roubaix. I have, top to bottom, I, go back and watch old races. I have, so there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's just that movie still has parts that are real creepy.
Yeah. Which they're the nudity is integral to the plot.
Yeah. There were parts of the nudity. There was don't get me wrong, there was good nudity in that movie as well. There was also weird nudity. Weird nudity is never good nudity.
What do you mean? It can be weird and good. Those are good butts. But anyway, if you want to hear more about Breaking Away, obviously that's this is round 2, right? So we talked about a lot of the ones that people come to mind first. But the point of that movie was back when we were doing the Is BS series, and the real point of that was to show that Quicksilver is not a terrible movie, not a good movie. It has bikes. It does have bikes.
Yeah.
in some of the movie. But I think something has to be a good movie. Like I said, I do try to we put the bike scene in there, but I feel regardless of how budget or whatever, every movie should be able to make you care about the characters to the extent that it serves your plot or your narrative, right? It serves the drama of the movie, and even comedies of a drama that makes them happen, right? And so that's my big thing, is when you can't effectively do that, I feel like you're not making a good movie, regardless of genre or subject or whatever. And I really tend to overemphasize that in my scores somewhat, which maybe could be argued with, but to me, that's like a big thing in any movie that I really think about, and video games too. We should do a bike video game one. The problem is you don't really do video games.
I don't, but I mean, I could get an emulator and play Paperboy again.
You do Paperboy. There's this. I think we talked about it recently, but there's a movie game that came out last year called Real World that is like absolutely all cycling. Somebody in our scene made. I'm still trying to figure it out. If I can figure it out, I'll get them on the pod. Somebody in our scene is involved in the making of that video game. I guarantee you. They use the term. There's a bike gang in this game called the Underbikers.
Yeah, it's not
all right.
All right, yeah.
All right.
So as I was saying, next week there'll be no stream. I am going to be in Maui. I can't, like, long as I don't something crazy. That's why I haven't brought it up, because it seems so unreal to me. I haven't even brought, like, when I set up, like, in my last few videos, I'm going to be gone. I just can't bring myself to say I'm going to be in Hawaii because it seems so crazy.
I'm excited for you.
Anyway, so no stream next week, and so, but I will be back a week from Friday, so plenty of time for us to come up with something for 2 weeks from today. So
cool. All right.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
See ya.
See myself on your YouTube.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this night.
Fitzwater photo.
In the awful way, holiday today, and all I want to say, holiday today. You catch the first train home, drives to be alone, yeah, and all I want to do is to get with you. Hey! In the awful way, holiday today, and all I want to say, holiday today. You catch the first train home, drives to be alone, yeah, and all I want to do is to get with you. Hey!
Thank you video. I need to make a new one this summary.